What the Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, show we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general the sports news of the day. I'm your host, Dr. Lee Denning, lifelong sports fan, and 14-2 in Week 4. So we have had kind of an up and down season picking so far. We went 10-5-1 on our first week. Actually, sorry, 9-6-1 on our first week. We went 11-5 on our second week, 8-8, and then finally rounding it out in Week 4. We had 14-2. The only games that we did not pick correctly were the Indianapolis Colts over the Tennessee Titans. Didn't work out. And then the only other game we picked incorrectly was the Detroit Lions, who have the best offense in the NFL and absolutely no defense whatsoever, scoring about an average of 35 points a game, but giving up an average of 35.4 points per game. And this was no different with a 45-48 loss to the Seattle Seahawks. So Detroit Lions, even without their weapons, are still doing well. They're just not winning games. So you found out how to play on one half of the ball. Let's see if you can do the other. So let's start out this week, Week 5 predictions. We have Thursday Night Football, the Indianapolis Colts on a loss to the Tennessee Titans where they really never were truly in the game unless you count that third quarter push. Neither team scored after that. They just really don't look good. Jonathan Taylor did suffer an injury. We're still kind of waiting to hear the long-term ramifications of that. And then you got the Denver Broncos, who Melvin Gordon is their best rushing option after Javonte Williams unfortunately goes down with a season-ending ACL tear. So if you have Javonte Williams out there, you need to be looking to pick up Michael Boone or Melvin Gordon if he's available in your fantasy league. That said, picking Thursday Night Football, give me Russell Wilson all night long. I know it's a short week for him, but I still like them in Denver to win this game. I think I'm going to be picking with the majority of people this week, just kind of looking at my preliminary here. We're starting to get a better idea of who these teams are, so I just really feel like Denver is going to win this game. Indianapolis, it wouldn't surprise me if they won, but Denver, I think, is the better team from top to bottom. Moving right along, first game of Sunday morning, the first time the Green Bay Packers have played in London. They are the home team. You have the New York Giants, where both Daniel Jones and their backup quarterback Tyrod Taylor went down with injury pretty much in the fourth quarter. They had to run a wildcat with Saquon Barkley and, oh God, I don't even know who their kicker is, but their kicker, I think, was the other half of the wildcat for them. Might have been Matt Breida. I'm not 100% sure there. But either way, if the injury problems are still an issue for New York, and again, remember, they have to fly across the pond early this week. They're probably already there, so they really hadn't had a lot of rest in between games. And then you've got the Green Bay Packers who are looking to bounce back. They are fairly healthy overall. Give me the Green Bay Packers in London. I actually think this is a game that A.J. Dillon goes off on. But give me the Packers. New York really didn't play well against a really bad Chicago Bears team. The Chicago Bears are looking like a potential first overall pick this year. It's unfortunately Justin Fields, former Georgia guy, but we don't really claim him. He ended up going to Ohio State. Just not looking good at the pro level. I think he went a little bit early here, so I think he should have probably waited one more year and seen what he had. But, it's hard to go when you've got an almost guaranteed top 15 pick in the first round. So I don't blame him, but he's not looking good here. But anyway, not this game that we're talking about. Green Bay Packers all day long. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, which I believe Kenny Pickett will be leading going forward at the Buffalo Bills. Kenny Pickett could not beat the Jets. He will not beat the Bills. Give me the Bills all day long. They managed to come back against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens through the air. And the Steelers are still going to be without T.J. Watt. Give me Buffalo Bills all day long. This could be a closer game than people are giving it credit for, but I still think Buffalo pulls it out in the end. I don't know what the spread is on this game, but I would guess it's probably 6.5 up, and I still think I would pick Bills against the spread on that one, because I just have that much confidence in them. I still think they're the best team in football right now. Moving on, we have the LA Chargers at the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Browns just suffered a heartbreaking loss to the Falcons. Big win for my Falcons. They managed to come together with a run game out of nowhere in the third and fourth quarter. Although Cleveland did dominate time of possession. Nick Chubb will certainly have a decent day here unless he just runs headlong into Khalil Mack, which could be a problem for him. Chargers, they bounced back this week after a pretty bad loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They played a lot better. I can't remember. I think they played Houston this past week. But anyways, they almost let Houston come back, but they were leading the entire game. If Chargers are healthy, give me the Chargers all day long. I still think they're better than Cleveland by a fairly large portion without Deshaun Watson there. So give me the Chargers. Cleveland's going to go 2-3 after this week. Then we go to a fairly easy pick. There's 6% of America thinks the Bears are going to beat the Vikings in Minnesota. I feel like that lone 6% is coming purely out of Chicago. I don't think the rest of America agrees with them. It is not a primetime game, so Kirk Cousins ought to be just fine. So look for Kirk Cousins and their offense to just light up the Chicago Bears. It will surprise me if Chicago wins this game. Give me the Minnesota Vikings all day long. Now, moving on, we have the Detroit Lions at the New England Patriots. 50-50 shot here. Most people are pretty split on this one if you go by ESPN's Pick'em game. I am as well. On the one hand, you have the highest scoring offense in the league with Jared Goff finding ways to put points on the board. Jamal Williams, when DeAndre Swift is down, still managing to put points on the board and get over 100 yards rushing. And that defense that's going to bite people's kneecaps, I think they're actually just licking them because they're not actually doing anything that's hurting anybody here, giving up more than 35 points a game. New England Patriots, they lost 2 of their quarterbacks. They do have. We'll see if Mac Jones comes back. Otherwise, they have Billy Zappa. Is that how you say his name? But this could be a little bit of a shock for us. The New England Patriots played incredibly well against the Green Bay Packers with their third-string quarterback. Very reminiscent of another famous quarterback that ended up taking off with a career starter in a big game as a third-string quarterback about 20-some-odd years ago from the New England Patriots. That would be Tom Brady. Hopefully this is not the restart of the evil empire. I don't wish poorly against Bailey Zapp, but I don't want him to win this game. Give me the Lions. The offense finally prevails here. I still think they are the possibly second-best team in that division. Their defense is what's keeping them from being solidly in that position. So give me the Lions. It's going to be close, though. This is a game that I could easily foresee me losing, but I'll take them. Now, next, we have the Seattle Seahawks, who had an amazing run on offense with 48 points against the Detroit Lions. Granted, it's the Detroit Lions who are the worst defense in the NFL right now, but still, that's a heck of a lot of points. Will Dissly is easily Geno Smith's favorite target in the red zone. They're going up against the New Orleans Saints. Now, I'm not sure if Jameis Winston will be back or if Andy Dalton is still going to be in the lead back there. They didn't look particularly good in London. They did manage to make it a game after losing not being able to push it to overtime on a double-doink field goal. Always a hard way to lose, but Will Lutz definitely showed that he had the leg for such field goals. I still am thinking that the New Orleans Saints are not all that great a team. It is in New Orleans, and having been there as a Falcons fan, that is an incredibly harsh environment. It's in the Caesars Superdome out there, and that place never gets below 105 decibels at any point in time during a home game. With the Falcons, seeing as they hate us so much, it very rarely got below 120 decibels. I think that Seattle will have a hard time, but I do think they're going to find a way to win, and the Saints are going to be reeling after this loss, being last in the division, tied with the Carolina Panthers, who I also think are going to lose this week, but we're going to get to them. Next, we have the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. New York Jets pulled off an upset win over the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. We'll see if Zach Wilson can take a step forward. He's still not doing it. He had a Philly special touchdown. And overall, it didn't look terrible, but they just didn't look good. Breece Hall is going to have to step up here. He is starting to finally take command over Michael Carter as the running back here. But you do have the Dolphins, who are a better team from the top down. Now, we've already covered the Tua Tagovailoa injury. He is officially ruled out, thank God, for this week. And I hope, honestly, he's ruled out for the next few weeks at least. If it were up to me, I would say minimum 30 days. If you just call that his first neurologic injury, think it's pretty hard to deny. He seemingly had another one before that. If you go by high school rules, he should be out for 90 days. But this is the NFL. There's a lot of money on the line. He's probably only going to be out for a few weeks here at most. But we'll see what happens with him. I would keep him out for 90 days if I was his doctor, but that's just me based on what I saw on the field. It certainly would depend on how he did in the neurologic evaluations afterwards. 30 days would probably be my minimum on him. But again, you do have Teddy Bridgewater, who is a serviceable quarterback, and I think he will be serviceable in this game. And overall, again, I think the Miami team is better than the Jets. Give me Miami Dolphins. And then next, we have another 1 o'clock matchup. The Atlanta Falcons go to Tampa Bay. 96% of America is picking Tampa Bay. I'm not going to be a homer here. I'm going to pick Tampa Bay. The Falcons are just not looking good overall to beat a high-quality team. We are tied for first right now, but I think that is kind of an anomaly. This is a game that I do think we lose, although some of our games look a lot easier on the schedule. If we get a good, solid run game going, which will be tough against a very good Tampa Bay defense, then we have a solid chance in this game. Marcus Mariota has to play better. His average QBR is about 50 right now. That ain't going to cut it against Tampa Bay, where he's going to have to take a massive step forward. Or, much like Pittsburgh, I would love to see Ritter have a chance in the second half of this game. If we're down big, what's the problem putting him in and seeing what we've got, seeing if he can make some magic happen? You don't have to play him every week going forward, but give the man a shot. So, Tampa Bay for now, because they finally woke up on offense. If they had been bad against the Chiefs on offense, I would have been probably picking the Falcons as a 50-50. They woke up for 31 points, which is more than we've managed to put on the board all season long. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next, to round out, we got 2 more games to round out the 1 o'clock slate, and I'm sorry this is going long. Tennessee Titans at Washington Commies. Tennessee Titans are finally kind of waking up here. I still don't think they're a great team, but you've got King Henry and the Washington Commies have virtually nothing. I am excited to see Brian Robinson potentially come back. Probably not this week, but next week. He is starting to practice again after being shot 2 times in the lower extremity and buttock region just prior to the season starting. Just another example of Washington fans shooting themselves in the foot. Literally people from his own neighborhood shooting him. That is a horrible look for your community. I'm glad that he is doing well, and I'm glad that he's going to get a chance to play. But Tennessee Titans in this one. Next, we have the Houston Texans at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville is playing overall fracking good football, and if they didn't turn the ball over 5 times with Trevor Lawrence throwing 1 pick and having 4 fumbles, basically every time he got sacked, he had a fumble. So if they didn't do that, they were probably going to beat Philadelphia, who is the #1 power-ranked team in the NFL right now because they are the only undefeated team left. So Houston, on the other hand, is 0-3-1. Not good. Not good at all. Texans have managed to come back and make games look closer than they actually were, but Jacksonville at home is a much better team than I gave them credit for at the start of the season. Christian Kirk had 7 targets but only 2 catches. He gets back on track with Trevor Lawrence this week, and Jacksonville by a landslide. Next, we have the San Francisco 49ers at Carolina Panthers. This one is very easy for me. Carolina's a bad team. The San Francisco 49ers, as I predicted, would beat the Rams. They are a good team, especially with Jimmy Garoppolo leading them. He's still a guy that's probably a solid QB2 in fantasy if you're in a 2 QB league. But again, Baker Mayfield does not look like a good quarterback at all right now. I couldn't have been more wrong about him. They are calling for Sam Darnold to come back in. That's how you know it's not going well. I actually would say put P.J. Walker in there. And I can't remember if they took a quarterback in the draft or not. I feel like they didn't. They were the one team that needed a quarterback that didn't take one. So give me the 49ers in this game easily. Now, this next one is interesting. I am going against the grain of America here. We have the Dallas Cowboys against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, Dak is not quite supposed to be back this week. They're expecting him to return week 6 or 7. Cooper Rush has been fracking amazing to the point that there may be a QB controversy when Dak comes back. Now, Cowboys fans may not like hearing that, but Cooper Rush is now 4-0 in his starts when you had to play him. Last year, starting and beating, I think it was Minneapolis in an upset win on Thanksgiving, and then this year he's had to play 3 games as a starter, 3-0 when he's the starter, and he's beat teams that I didn't think he would have a chance of beating. So give me the Dallas Cowboys. The Los Angeles Rams could not manage to find rhythm against the San Francisco 49ers. I do think that some degree Sean McVay gets owned by the San Francisco 49ers, by Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. But I do think the Cowboys will find a way to make the defending Super Bowl champs go 2-3, even though I think it's going to be a very close game. Most of America is picking the Rams. I'm going against the grain here to pick the Cowboys. I'm going to stick with that Cooper Rush energy and go with that. So next, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona still doesn't look like a good team. It seems like there's something to this whole DeAndre Hopkins in versus DeAndre Hopkins out thing. Now, for fantasy purposes, if DeAndre Hopkins is out there sitting on your waiver wire, this is the week to pick him up. It's week 5. He is suspended through week 6, and then he's back in week 7. So this is a perfect time to go out and pick him up off of waivers and stash him for a couple of weeks. I wouldn't have told you to draft him, but stashing is perfectly acceptable at this point in time. Philadelphia Eagles are looking amazing on offense, looking amazing on defense. Give me the Eagles against the Cardinals. I will take them all day long. Now, moving on, we have another tough game, the Sunday night premier matchup, and I would call it premier at this point. So we have two 2-2 teams. Cincinnati Bengals at Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore reeling after a horrible loss to the Buffalo Bills after dominating them for the first half of the game, losing in the second half. Cincinnati Bengals finally finding a rhythm in the last 2 games and coming out the victors here. The Baltimore Ravens, I'm going to pick the Bengals here, and here's why. The Baltimore Ravens, their secondary is the definition of Swiss cheese. Their front 4 are pretty good. You're not going to run for a whole lot of yards. They're kind of middle of the pack there. So, but you still have some extra factors here. Joe Burrow's not looking to run the ball a whole lot, even though Joe Mixon is very good. He's looking to throw it downfield to Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. They're looking to make magic happen. And heck, who's our other guy there? The tight end, Hayden Hurst. He's looking to throw the ball to Hayden Hurst as well, who now has 21 targets in the first 4 games. So he is finding ways to beat you downfield, and that's where you struggle as the Ravens. Cincinnati is Cincinnati. They're a middle-of-the-road defense altogether. Their offensive line stepped up in a big way the last couple of weeks. But give me the Cincinnati Bengals, also coming off of a long week, having played Thursday night football last week. They've had a lot more rest. They've had a lot more time to study. Give me the Bengals as a underdog in this game. Finally, Monday Night Football, then we'll close this out. Let's go Las Vegas Raiders with the Kansas City Chiefs. Las Vegas Raiders, I did think at home they would finally show their talent and win. They were helped out by an opportunistic scoop and score, which has not happened in the last few seasons for the Raiders. But the Chiefs are playing amazing football. Easily a top 3 team in the league right now. It is in Kansas City on Monday night, primetime. Mahomes looks very good most of the time in primetime. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs. 94% of America agrees with me. Let's go. So, if you're keeping up at home with me, I am 42-21-1. Would love to be continuing on with you guys down below. Please, please, please let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think I'm absolutely insane for picking the teams that I picked? Do you like any of my upsets here? Let me know about it. If you like the video, hit the like button down below. Consider subscribing. Again, my goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers at some point in the next couple of years. Would like to do it sooner than later, and that will really help the channel grow. Thank you guys for letting me be a part of your lives and watching the video. I know it's a long one today, but until next time, rise up.